Obviously, I am not Alex Hormozi, but before you go away, let me tell you why this is still an Alex Hormozi video. I'm a CPA entrepreneur. I have a master's in both business and accounting, but none of that founders because I am the founder of the Alex Hormozi School, which is the most exclusive online community for business owners who love watching and applying Alex Hormozi's business strategies. You already know this, but Alex Hormozi has hours and hours of business content online already. But believe it or not, he still has a bunch of business strategies, tips, and hacks that he has not released publicly, and it's making businesses a lot of money. And that's where I come in. I make videos on everything Alex Hormozi has not made a video on. So let's get into today's video. Only a few months ago, Alex Hormozi sent out a letter to help businesses 2x, 3x, or even 4x their revenue almost instantly. And this letter probably takes around 15 minutes to read. I don't like reading, and you don't like reading. So this short video will explain everything for you. Let's rock. Okay, so can one thing even double, triple, quadruple, or even 50x times your business? Sounds insane, right? But that's exactly what Alex Hormozi and his team have been doing, from a variety of businesses like software businesses, brick and mortar businesses, and even services. And because of this, Alex Hormozi grew his portfolio company, acquisition.com, to over $500 million of enterprise value. All because of one strategy, and today, we're going to find out what that is. Alright, so you think the answer in the one strategy in this video is going to be about working harder? No. This is not going to be a video about waking up at 4 a.m. with your heart pounding in your chest, doing morning routines. It's about having clarity. Ruthless clarity. Let's be real for a minute. Entrepreneurs like me and you can get overwhelmed. How many of us have a to-do list like this every single day in our business? Fix the ads, make a new funnel, post more content, close more deals, follow up more, hire people, and just goes on and on and on, and it's a never-ending list that we have every single day. It's a lot. It's chaotic. Even Alex Hormozi calls this business ADHD. You are doing everything except the one thing that actually makes you money. Trying to do all these things for your business every single day, it's kind of like driving a car at 100 miles per hour while you're trying to change the song on the radio, while you're texting, while you're talking to your backseat driver. You're gonna crash. And kind of same thing with this. You're gonna crash your business. But we crash from distraction. And it's not even laziness, and it's not bad luck. It's not that we're super terrible at our jobs. We just have too many half-baked priorities. Okay, so what does Hormozi do different? When him and his team looks at a business, whether it's software, services, e-com, or even medical, they just start by asking a simple dead-end question. They will ask people like you and me, what's the one thing that makes this business the most money? And yeah, it sounds simple, but a lot of us actually cannot answer it. And even if we do, we'll say our customer services are so great, or our product is so great, or it's our location. And Alex Hormozi found that the more and more he digs into these different businesses, all those answers are just wrong. It usually always boils down to they have really effective sales and advertising strategies. So something simple, whether it's a specific offer, a follow-up strategy, or maybe they have a really good ad campaign, right? One of these that actually drive revenue. And once Alex Hormozi and his team find that lever, they will ask the founder, what if you just did 50x times more of this? And this is usually when the truth comes out. This is when a business owner will just say, we can't. And all of this leads to the question Alex Hormozi just loves to ask, and it's like the most magical question of all time. Why not? Why not? And there it is. That's the unlock. Because the answer to this question of why you cannot do 50 times more of whatever it is that makes you the most money, that is the constraint in your business. That is the bottleneck. And once you fix that one bottleneck, your business explodes. Business constraint. Now, this concept is not new. Remember, I have a master's in both business and accounting, and I took an entire class on the theory of business constraints. You will find a chapter about this in all the business textbooks across all the major campuses in the US. The thing is, most people still never apply it. A lot of us, we like to chase the different business hacks that we see online instead of solving the one problem that's holding everything back. Now, real quick, to drive this home, let's give you guys a real example that Alex Hormozi had with one of his businesses in his portfolio company. And after that, I'll tell you what my business constraint is. I wonder if you guys can think of it, and if you think of it, put it down in the comments. It's probably not going to be what you think. Hormozi was actually talking to a life coach that was making $300,000 per year. Now, $300,000 per year isn't that bad, but we can do better than that. Now, this life coach was absolutely stuck in her business. She was flatlined for years, stuck at this revenue. And the issue was she was so good at her job that she was completely booked. She literally physically cannot take on any more clients. Just no more hours in the day. So what do you think Alex did? He simply asked her, why don't you just double your prices? And at first she goes, if I double my prices, all my clients will leave. Alex said, do it, try it, and test it. So she doubled her prices. And guess what? Nobody left, and she just doubled her revenue. So now she's making $600K per year. But here's the issue. I just told you that nothing changed. She has all of her clients, which means she is still booked solid. So she still has the business constraint. So she did it again. She increased her prices again, and her business experienced a 400% growth. Let me drive this home. All this took no extra time and no extra effort. The max that it took was the 5 minutes it took to update her website to just change the prices. That was it. She didn't have to test anything. She didn't have to go out there and learn any brand new skills. She didn't have to do any crazy advertising campaign. She didn't have to go out there and hire a team. All she did was just raise her prices. And now she has a way better profit margin. Now, if this life coach back when she was making $300K per year, if she were to ask anyone else, they would have told her, oh, you need to make new offers. You need to start doing online courses, maybe some group coaching, or even license your model. But Alex said, no, until the core business constraint of not having enough time yet is solved, nothing else matters. So this is probably a really bad graph, but so she kept raising the prices until finally the customers she was having started going down. So she got to a point where like, okay, she started to lose some clients, which means she finally fixed this business constraint, which means she raised the prices until finally raising prices wouldn't work anymore. She maxed it out. She scaled it out. And then and only then did she start putting in like scalable offers. So the next thing she did was actually group coaching, but that came with its own business constraint. But she stuck with it until she fixed that business constraint and maxed it out, which is what she did. Once she was able to do that, then she started adding some team members. Once again, that came with its own business constraint. She fixed it and she maxed it out. The last and final thing was licensing. Once again, came with the business constraint. She fixed it, maxed it out. Fast forward a couple of years. Remember, she was making $300,000 per year. Now she's making $50 million per year, and she works 3 days a week. $50 million per year. Works 3 days a week. Do you think she solved her business constraints? I would say so. All right, so we're going to break down the Alex Hormozi playbook. Step 1, you're going to identify the one thing that makes you the most money. And you know what that is. Be honest with yourself. You know what that is. Step 2, do 50x more of it. Now, this is where step 3 is going to happen. You're going to hit a wall and you're going to ask yourself, I can't. And you need to ask yourself, why not? Why not? Once you identify why not and you know what your business constraint is, you need to solve that constraint. Nothing else matters. Don't do anything else in your day, in your entrepreneur job, than solving that one business constraint. No other fires matter. Once you do that, simply repeat until you find the next business constraint. And like I promised you guys earlier, you want to know what my business constraint is? You want to know what makes my business the most amount of money? It's this right here, making YouTube videos. I don't make enough of them. I'm not consistent with them. And that needs to stop now. I need to be incredibly consistent making these YouTube videos because these YouTube videos are the one thing that drive the most traffic to my business. So even though I have 20,000 other things I need to do for my online community, I need to make sure I'm pumping out enough videos to make sure I'm keeping the community thriving and growing. All aside, this is how Alex Hormozi was able to grow the first time his business to $37 million in a year. You all know that story. He sold that business for $46.2 million. And now he's scaled acquisition.com to over $500 million in enterprise value. I know all of this, you're going to call it obvious. You're going to call it simple. But the one thing we can't call this is wrong because the results speak for themselves, whether it's with the life coach, whether it's with Alex Hormozi's businesses, whether it's with my business, and even whether it's with your business. All right, so like I promised, I kept it short and sweet. If you guys would like to read that entire letter for yourself, I posted it on my Alex Hormozi online community, alexhormozischool.com. So go check it out. See you guys next time.